Hello, everybody. This is your old friend, Mark Twain. And I'm here to give you a little bit of a story on why I have a predilection to appreciate and like frogs. It goes back to my youth. When I was a young'un, I broke into the local pharmacy store and found a bottle of frog juice because I had a problem with my throat. And as I drank the frog juice, I found out that the pharmacist had added a little extra kick into that alcohol. And I really found that I liked frog juice an awful lot, even though I was a little really young'un back in Hannibal at that time in Missouri. Later on, what really happened is I was out in Virginia City working for the Territorial Enterprise newspaper as a reporter. And I met a nice young man about my age, and we became drinking buddies. Oh, did I have a good time with Artemis Ward and all my other friends, drinking and having a great time with beer and wine. And I noticed once in a while that the labels all had frogs on them, which was good enough for my appetite and kept me very happy. Except Artemis got a little pissed off at me, and I called him an arrogant frog. Later on, I found a bottle of arrogant frog, and I gave it to him for that wine. Now, what really happened after that is Artemis and I made up, and as he was heading back east, he said, Samuel, because people knew me as Samuel at that time, because actually my original name when I was born was Samuel Langhorne Clemens. And even my wife Olivia called me that in public. Well, she called me a lot of other names in private, especially when she found me drinking a lot of frog juice. But anyway, that's a different story. So I figured I'm going to send him a good story. But I had one that was stuck in my brain a little bit, and it was called The Jim Smiley and the Jumping Frog of Calaveras County. So I heard that from someone else, and I decided, I'm not sure if I want to put my own name to that and send it to New York for Artemis to publish. So I used the name Mark Twain, and I got that name from the days when I was a riverboat pilot back in my youth, when I was about 18 or 19, until the Civil War broke out, when I decided, I'm not going to be much of a sailor or a soldier for the South, so I came west to Virginia City. And unfortunately, the mail was a little bit slow during the war and right after the war, and my story didn't get to Artemis in time to go into his book, but he liked it and he felt bad that I didn't fill out a short story for him. So he brought it and published it in the local papers in New York City, and the next thing I knew, it had gone around the world, and my name was famous, and I was known as Mark Twain and made a lot of money since then. Now, even that, if you look over here, this is Frog's Leap, because this is a California wine, and I spent a lot of time in Sacramento and San Francisco with the papers out there. And sure enough, we have a whole vineyard to go on. I should have made my fortune in wine and beer rather than that. And then, this was a tragedy. This is a Hoppin' Frog beer. I thought this would be a real good one, but it's got pumpkin in it. And if you know me at all, you know how I don't like a lot of things with pumpkin in it. And this is double pumpkin ale. Don't let this go down your palate. What you might want to do is get one of these instead. Frog Hops Amager. Dry, that's gin and beer and frog juice. So this was a good one here. And I went all around the world collecting things, and I finally went over to Germany, and the Germans made a special beer for me, or wine for me, Liebfrau milk. And this is another good frog-based wine. Now, there was a story that I heard when I was out west, too, from my favorite bartender. He said one morning a little froggy hopped into the bar and hopped up to the table and said, "Do you got any grapes?" And the bartender says, no, I don't have grapes. This is a bar. We don't keep grapes at a bar. Get out of here. The next morning, the frog left. And the next morning, the frog jumped back in and sat up on the bar and asked the bartender, do you have any grapes? And the bartender tried to whack him and said, I told you yesterday I didn't have any grapes. If I see you back in here, I'm going to nail your little froggy feet to the wall. Now get out. The frog left. The next morning, the frog came back in again. And he jumped up on the bar and says, oh, Mr. Bartender, do you have any nails? And the bartender says, no, I don't have any nails. I told you I don't have any nails. Get out. This is a bar. And the frog goes, do you got any grapes? You're supposed to laugh at that. The frogs do. Have a good night.